All right, buckle up, everyone. We've got a whole stack of notes and recaps right here covering WWE Monday Night Raw, hashtag 1673.
Yeah, this one was live from Green Bay, Wisconsin, back on June 16th, 2025.
And our mission really is to cut through all the action from what was a pretty packed show. We want to figure out what really mattered.
Exactly, and what it tells us about where things might be headed in WWE.
Think of this as your fast track, your shortcut to understanding the key moments, the big developments from that night.
Definitely, because this wasn't just, a standard episode. It felt like a real pivot point.
How so?
Well, we saw the end of the first rounds for King and Queen of the Ring, but
Yeah.
also some genuinely big surprises. We had major returns, unexpected challenges.
And setting up some pretty massive future matches, too.
For sure. So we're going to dig into all our source material here and pull out the most important threads for you.
Okay, let's dive in. The show kicked off, right away with Liv Morgan.
Oh, yeah. Making her presence felt immediately. She walked out with Dominic Mysterio, and she just looked super confident.
And she just flat out declared it Monday Night Morgan right off the bat.
No messing around. And she was crystal clear about her goal, too. Straight up challenged the women's world champion, Iyo Sky.
Yeah, coming off that win against Nikki Bella the week before, she was definitely riding high, staking her claim.
She basically told Sky, look, this can be easy or hard, but I want my title match. So the division belongs to her now.
Sky's reaction, though.
That was interesting.
Totally dismissive, wasn't she? Not just of Liv, but she even took a shot at Dominic.
Implying Liv's tag title wasn't really earned like her world title.
Right. It kind of highlights that whole dynamic, Liv's associating with Judgment Day, but maybe not being seen as quite on that level yet by someone like Sky.
And Liv seemed a little taken aback, maybe, by Sky's attitude.
Could be. It definitely escalated quickly from there.
Sky offered the belt, Liv reached.
And boom, drop kick, sent Liv flying right out of the ring.
Caught Dominic on the way out, too. Sky just stood there, belt held high. So Liv made a bold statement, but Sky answered physically, like immediately. Put her in her place. For now, at least.
Okay, so from that opening statement, we went straight into tournament action. Queen of the Ring.
Yep, the first round, fatal four-way. We had Asuka, Stephanie Walker, Ivy Nile, with Chad Gable, of course, and Raquel Rodriguez.
This one went about, 15 minutes?
Around that, yeah. And the ending. Well, it was pure chaos.
Looked like anyone's match until Rhea Ripley showed up.
And this is kind of where the theme of interference really kicked off for the night, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Ripley comes out, doesn't just cause a distraction.
No, she specifically targets Raquel Rodriguez. Hits her with a riptide right there at ringside.
Takes Raquel completely out of it. And that direct...
Let Asuka get the pin. Easy pickings after that.
Asuka knew what was up, got the win, and then backstage later, she was very clear. I will be Queen of the Ring.
It really makes you wonder about Ripley's motive there, doesn't it? Is she helping Asuka for some reason? Maybe sees her as less of a threat down the line?
Or is it just about reigniting that feud with Raquel, using the tournament as cover?
Could be either, honestly. Or maybe a bit of both.
And we saw the immediate consequence backstage, didn't we?
Yeah, Liv Morgan goes up to Raquel, trying to get some backup for her own match later.
And Raquel's like, nope, not medically cleared because of what Ripley did.
It just shows how impactful that riptide was. It had storyline consequences right away.
Okay, switching gears a bit. World Heavyweight Champion Gunther, he made his appearance.
Full champion entrance, pyro the works, looking dominant as usual.
And he cuts this promo, basically saying he's unbeatable.
Well, almost. He did acknowledge that one night, WrestleMania, losing to Jey Uso briefly.
Right, conceding that one slip-up. But then he shifted focus.
Turned his attention straight to Seth Rollins and that Money in the Bank briefcase.
Yeah, basically laid down the challenge.
Yeah.
Said, I'm here, I'm the champ. If you want this, Rollins, come and get it.
Felt like they were clearly starting to build towards that eventual cash-in or confrontation, setting the table.
Okay, so you're thinking, all right, Gunther versus Rollins is on the horizon. And then...
WHO is NXT. Goldberg's music hits.
Just out of nowhere.
Talk about a surprise return, a legit legend, and he immediately goes right for the top champion.
Didn't just congratulate him either.
No way! He straight up challenged Gunther. Said Gunther started something with him months ago, and now he wants a match at Saturday night's main event.
And Gunther's face, priceless. He looked genuinely concerned, surprised, definitely concerned.
He backed right out of the ring. Goldberg just stood there, soaking it in.
So that throws a massive wrench into the whole world title picture, doesn't it?
Huge curveball. Now you've got this potential legend versus dominant champ match looming. Does that put the Rollins thing on hold? Or does it make things even more complicated?
We'll have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah.
It creates a ton of possibilities, though.
For sure. Elsewhere on the show, more drama involving Judgment Day, AJ Styles versus JD McDonough.
With Dominic Mysterio at ringside, naturally, doing his usual interference shtick.
Trying his best, yeah. But AJ still managed to overcome it.
Got the win with the Styles clash. About 10 minutes or so.
Sounds right, but the real story was after the bell.
Total chaos. Dominic tries to jump Styles. Finn Balor runs in to help Dom.
And in all the confusion, AJ Styles doesn't just escape.
He grabs Dominic's Intercontinental Championship belt.
Just snatches it and makes a run for it. Literally stole the gold.
And the payoff backstage was kind of brilliant.
Perfect booking. Styles goes to Nick Aldis, the GM, gives the belt back.
And Aldis, clearly liking that AJ stood up to Judgment Day's nonsense,
Immediately rewards him. Grants AJ Styles a title match against Dominic for the IC title.
at Night of Champions. So stealing the belt wasn't just for show, it directly earned him a championship match.
Fantastic stuff. Makes AJ's actions feel really significant in his fight against the group.
We also saw the return of Bayley, back in the ring cutting a promo.
Yeah, felt quite reflective, actually, talking about WrestleMania, her history with Becky Lynch.
She seemed to suggest that getting taken out of Mania kind of reset her perspective.
Made it clear she's not just showing up for the big pay-per-views, she's there every single week, grinding.
And she directly challenged Becky's viewpoint on things.
Which, of course, brought out Becky Lynch, and things got personal fast.
Becky questioned Bayley's priorities, right? Like friends versus legacy?
Yeah, but Bayley fired back hard, accused Becky of being obsessed with fan reaction.
And said Becky strategically tries to take out competitors, like her and Lyra Valkyria, just to keep the spotlight.
Oof. Yeah, you could feel the real history and the perceived slights between them there. Bayley wasn't holding back.
Not at all. And then she laid down the challenge, Women's Intercontinental Championship match.
And specifically wanted it next week.
They got physical. Bayley got the upper hand this time.
And that match. Confirmed backstage by Aldis almost instantly. Huge match for next week's Raw.
But wait, there was more to it backstage, too.
Right. Lyra Valkyria confronted Bayley right after, hinting pretty strongly that she wants a piece of that title picture, too.
So that one segment is suddenly spinning off multiple threads around the women's IC title.
Yeah.
Bayley, Becky, maybe Lyra.
Shows how interconnected everything is in that division right now. Very dynamic.
The show also kind of sprinkled in other setup bits, right?
Yeah, little backstage things. Sheamus and Alpha Academy hyping something. Penta talking about Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. The Cena Punk feud building to Night of Champions. Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross setting up a match. Lots of groundwork being laid.
All building up to the main event. The King of the Ring, first round fatal four-way.
Jey Uso, Sheamus, Rusev, and Bronson Reed, who had Paul Heyman with him, went about 17 minutes.
And if the Queen of the Ring match was chaos, this was next level.
Oh man, the interference here was layered. It was wild.
First, Braun Breaker comes out trying to help Reed.
Then Sami Zayn tries to stop Breaker, but gets cut off.
Then Penta comes out and actually does take out Breaker.
And just when you think it's maybe settled, LA Knight runs down.
And attacks Bronson Reed.
The sheer number of people getting involved, it really tells the story, doesn't it? It wasn't just about the four guys in the match.
It was like all these other feuds just exploded into the tournament. LA Knight taking out Reed was the final piece.
Which allowed Jey Uso to hit the Uso splash and get the win. He advances.
But the night wasn't over. Post-match.
Seth Rollins appears out of nowhere again and goes right after Jey Uso.
Looked like he was going to take Jey out, but then Cody Rhodes sprints down.
Makes the save for Jey, and then Cody and Rollins are face-to-face in the ring.
That stare down. Intense. Rollins eventually backed off.
Which left Cody and Jey Uso standing there. The winner and the guy who just saved him.
And that moment kind of solidified it, right? Their massive King of the Ring second round match.
It's happening next week. Jey Uso versus Cody Rhodes.
Wow. But they ended the show shaking hands. Show of respect despite the huge match coming up.
Yeah, nice touch. And it confirms just how stacked next week's Raw is going to be.
Seriously. We've got Bayley versus Becky for the women's IC title.
Jade Cargill versus Roxanne Perez in the Queen of the Ring second round.
And that massive Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso King of the Ring match.
So looking back at this Raw, hashtag 1673, what are the big takeaways?
Well, the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments are moving forward, but man, Interference played a huge role in who advanced.
Definitely. We also had those major returns, Bayley and Goldberg jumping right into top-level situations.
Goldberg challenging Gunther, Bayley challenging Becky.
Yeah.
Immediate impact.
And AJ Styles stealing the IC belt to actually earn a title shot at Night of Champions. That was a clever way to advance his story.
Plus, the main event finish with all that chaos, directly setting up Cody versus Jay for the following week.
It really feels like this episode wasn't just about the tournament brackets. It was about launching major title programs and confrontations for the next few weeks, building towards Night of Champions, and maybe even that Saturday night's main event show.
And think about how many top stars are now tangled up together. You got Rollins, Rhodes, Uso, then Gunther and Goldberg, Styles and Mysterio, Lynch, Bayley, Valkyria, Ripley, and Rodriguez.
It's a complex web. It raises that question, how are all these intersecting feuds and relationships going to play out? Is it just going to lead to more chaos, more interference?
Which brings us to maybe a final thought for you to chew on.
Yeah, considering how much outside interference we saw, especially in those big tournament matches.
Is winning King or Queen of the Ring this year less about just winning the match itself?
And maybe more about navigating this crazy landscape, dodging your rivals, maybe calling in favors from allies? Is it more political survival than pure wrestling skill right now?
Something to definitely keep an eye on as these tournaments progress. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.